So let's start with alcohols, phenols and ethers. Alcohols are formed by the replacement of hydrogen atoms of the hydrocarbon by hydroxy group, that is the OH group. So this is a hydrocarbon with the general formula of RH. When I remove this H and add OH to it, I will get alcohol with the general formula of ROH. Now coming to the classification of alcohols. Now alcohols are divided into three groups based on the number of OH groups present. If one OH group is present, it is known as monohydric alcohol. If two are present, dihydric. If more than two are present, then polyhydric. So in monohydric, we again have a few classifications. See, the first thing is based on if our carbon atom is sp3 hybridized. Okay, sp3 hybridized means what? It has a tetrahedral structure, right? So when our carbon atom is sp3 hybridized, we have three classification in it. That is, firstly, alkyl alcohol, allylic alcohol and benzylic alcohol. Coming to alkyl alcohol, when we have an alkyl group attached with our alcoholic group, it is known as alkyl alcohol. For example, the primary alkyl alcohol has a general formula of RCH2OH, while the secondary alcohol has the formula, a general formula of RCHOH, while the tertiary alcohol has general formula of RCOH. Now coming to allylic alcohols. Now when we talk about allylic alcohols, now what does the word allylic mean? It means that the carbon atom which is next to the carbon-carbon double bond, right? So here we have carbon-carbon double bond. The next carbon atom, this CH2 over here on the right side of the screen, is attached to the OH. So this type of OH bond is known as allylic alcohol. It forms an allylic alcohol. So better we zoom it, right? This is allylic alcohol. Now coming to benzylic alcohol. When our alcohol is attached, OH group is attached to a carbon which is attached to the benzene ring. You should very importantly here remember that benzylic alcohol doesn't mean that OH is attached to benzene. No. If a carbon attached to benzene and with that external carbon our OH is attached, it is known as benzylic alcohol. Now again we have CsP2OH bond. When the carbon is in sp2 hybridization having the OH bond, we have two types, vinylic alcohol and aryl alcohol. Vinylic alcohol is when we say our OH is attached to one of the carbons of the carbon-carbon double bond. You should remember the difference between allylic and vinylic. Allylic is when our carbon is attached to two carbons with double bond. Okay, the third carbon is having the OH. Okay, but in vinylic, out of the two having double bond, any one is having the OH bond. This is known as vinylic alcohol, as you can understand from the diagram. Right? Now coming to aryl alcohols. In this case, our OH is directly attached to the benzene ring. Now coming to nomenclature. Now how do we name these alcohols? The common name for these alcohols are alkyl alcohols. Okay. Now the simplest example is this CH3OH if I take. It is what? Methyl alcohol. Right? It is a common name. But if I talk about IUPAC nomenclature, that is the standard nomenclature, then it would be alkane plus OL, that is alkanol. Again, if I take CH3OH, this is methanol. If C2H5OH, ethanol. Right? Now we have one more system of nomenclature for alcohols, that is the carbinol system. So, wherein this CH3OH is known as the carbinol. Here, CH3OH is known as the carbinol and others are considered as its alkyl derivatives. The alkyl groups are named in the alphabetical order. Okay, for example, we have CH3OH as carbinol, right? Now, what is CH3CH2OH? It is methyl carbinol. Again, this is a carbinol group. CH2OH is a carbinol group. Except this, what we are having one extra CH3. That is called methyl group, right? So that methyl and this is carbinol. Again here in dimethyl carbinol, we have here two methyls, right? This is my carbinol, CHOH, right? One carbon OH is carbinol. Except that again two we have, so dimethyl carbinol. And again these two are not directly connected, right? These two are branched. So dimethyl carbinol. Now coming to isomerism. Of course, alcohols also show chain, positional and functional as well as optical isomerism. So, in chain isomerism, we have taken the example for C5H11OH. Okay, that is pentanol, right? So here we can see it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon atoms, and here it is attached to this OH group. This carbon atom is attached to this OH group. Okay, so this is what? 1 pentanol, right? So here as we can see, this is so now the very important difference between chain isomerism and positional isomerism is that here you can see the position of OH is fixed. Here also we should have OH, right? The position of OH is fixed. Only the carbons are moving here and there, as you can see. Here we got two branches. Here should be OH again. So here we got one branch again, right? OH is having the same position. Whereas in positional isomerism, the OH is changing. It is the change in the position of the functional group, right? Now coming to functional isomerism. Now functional isomerism is shown by alcohols and ethers. Now what does this mean? That there are two different functional groups, but together they form the same molecular formula. Simple example, if I take C2H5OH, usually called ethyl alcohol or ethanol, right? Now count the number of different substances here. Two carbons, H5 plus 1, 6 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, right? So if I take ethyl alcohol in this form, CH3, CH2OH, here also H3 plus H2 plus H, total 6 hydrogens, C, 2 carbons, 1 oxygen. Similarly, if I convert it into ether, that is CH3OCH3, here also H3, 6 hydrogens, C, 2 carbons and 1 oxygen. So here our molecular formula or the number of atoms of each element is same, but only the functional group differs, right? This is alcoholic group, this is ether group, right? So difference in the functional groups is known as functional isomerism. Optical isomerism, alcohols with at least one chiral carbon show optical isomerism. Now what is chiral carbon? A carbon having all the four different groups around it is known as a chiral carbon. For example, this 2-butanol has a chiral carbon here, as you can see. Now here, this carbon atom, okay, on its left side it has CH3 group, right? On its right side it has CH2CH3, that is ethyl group, and up it has hydrogen group, right? This hydrogen I can write it up as well. Up it has hydrogen group and down it has OH group. So all the four groups are different, and thus this carbon is called the chiral carbon atom. Okay, now coming to the preparation methods of alcohols. First, from alkyl halides, that is RX. This RX plus NaOH or KOH, or this NaOH and KOH should be in aqueous medium. Okay, because we need OH, right? Aqueous medium, or this Ag2O in moist medium. Again, why moist? Because we want H2O, right? H we want. Instead of X, we want OH, right? So we need water as well. That's why aqueous NaOH or aqueous KOH or moist Ag2O gives us alcohol, that is ROH. Now, primary alkyl halides give rise to alcohols, okay? But tertiary alkyl halides give rise to alkenes, and secondary alkyl halides, they give rise to both alcohols as well as alkenes. Now, the primary alkyl halides, while giving rise to alcohols, they undergo SN2 mechanism. So, this SN1 and SN2 we are going to study under haloalkanes and haloarenes. Okay, you should just remember that primary alkyl halides, when they give alcohols, they undergo SN2 mechanism, whereas the tertiary alkyl halides, when they give alkenes, they undergo SN1 mechanism. SN2 mechanism is usually easily underwent by primary alkyl halides, whereas SN1 is easily underwent by tertiary alkyl halides. Okay, and primary, they give both alcohol as well as alkene, and they can go either SN1 or SN2 reaction. Now coming to the next slide. Okay. Coming to the second preparation method, that is from alkenes. Under alkenes, we have the first thing, that is acid catalyzed hydration or ACH. Now this is very simple method. See, acid catalyzed hydration. Now catalyzed means what? Undergone, or the thing which makes the reaction faster, right? Acid catalyzed hydration. Hydration means adding water, right? Now, hydration, that is the process of adding water with which is speeded up by an acid. The process of adding water speeded up by an acid or catalyzed by an acid is known as acid catalyzed hydration. You can remember it like this. Hydration which is catalyzed by an acid or acid catalyzed hydration. So now, here we have alkene, right? This is the preparation from alkene. So we will take an alkene, that is CH3, CH double bond CH2. Okay, this is propene, right? Plus H2O, hydration means adding water, right? In the presence of some acid, what is that acid here? It is H2SO4. So when I add, I'll get CH3CH, and in the middle atom, middle carbon atom, I'll get OH with CH3. Now what is the mechanism for this? Now this is also a very, very important mechanism. So H2SO4 is dissociated into 2 H plus ions and 1 SO4 minus 2 ion. Okay, so now this H2O, we can write it like this, right? And oxygen has 2 lone pairs plus H plus, it will give us a hydronium ion, that is H3O plus, right? Now when we get this hydronium ion, we can start our mechanism for the acid catalyzed hydration. We took first step taking the alkene, okay, taking the alkene. Alkene reacting with H3O plus, that is the hydronium ion. We will get CH3, CH, CH3. So the first thing is formation of carbocation by removal of double bond. You can see double bond does not exist now, right? So first step is formation of carbocation by the removal of double bond. Okay, now what we'll get here? This hydrogen will go here, right? So we'll get CH3, double bond will be broken, and this CH will get a plus charge. So finally I'll get CH3, CH plus CH3 plus H2O. Now coming to the formation of protonated alcohol. Okay, what does that mean? Here I am having the carbocation, right? CH3, CH plus CH3. This is my carbocation, right? I am reacting it with H2O. So I will get CH3, CH, CH3, and this CH is attached to oxygen and hydrogens. Now this oxygen is having lone pair of electrons, right? So it can get attached to this carbon atom. Oxygen can give its lone pairs to this carbon atom and gain a plus charge because it has given its electrons, right? So it will give its electrons to this carbon and get a plus charge. Okay, so here we have our protonated alcohol, that is CH3, CO HH, that is COH2 and CH3. So now deprotonation to get alcohol. Now what we will do? Deprotonation means removal of one hydrogen to get alcohol. Okay. Now what we will do? We will take that protonated alcohol, that is CH3, CHOH2 plus and CH3, right? This protonated alcohol will react it with water again. Here it is very, very important to also show the plus sign on each oxygen and plus sign on the carbocation as well as the electrons on those oxygen atoms, right? So we will react it with oxygen and H2, that is water molecule, and we will get finally our alcohol, that is CH3, CHOH, CH3 plus our protonated alcohol that we used before, right? So whatever we took in, we got it out as well, right? Now the next process using alkenes itself is hydroboration oxidation process. This is also a very important process. Here we have our alkene and we are reacting it with BH3 twice in THF. Now what is this THF? It is tetrahydrofuran. Okay, we are reacting this hydroborate in presence of tetrahydrofuran THF. Okay, so what will we get here? We will get CH3 CH2 CH2, which means that the double bond is broken, right? We have only single bond. CH2 BH2. Okay, so actually it should be boron is having a valency of 3, right? So it should be BH3, but one of the hydrogen of that BH3 is replaced by this CH3 CH2 CH2 group. So now what we are getting? We are getting CH3 CH2 CH2 BH2, which is monoalkyl borate. Again, if we add the same alkene group to this monoalkyl borate, we will get a dialkyl borate. Again, this alkyl group will replace one more hydrogen out of this H2 and we will get CH3 CH2 CH2 twice times of BH or 2 times of BH, which is dialkyl borate. Again adding an alkene molecule, we will get finally a trialkyl borate, that is all the hydrogens of that borate ion are replaced by the alkyl groups, right? Coming to the next topic. Yeah, now what we wanted finally, we want alcohol, right? So this trialkyl borate, we will react it with 3 moles of H2O2, which is peroxide, and OH minus ions. So we will finally get 3 times 3 moles of CH3CH2CH2OH plus BOH3 thrice. Alright, now this is the final example when we do hydroboration oxidation, that is the second process using alkenes, and the first process, that is acid catalyzed hydration. So when we do hydroboration oxidation of this molecule, now what is this? This is having a tertiary carbon atom, right? So here, as you can see in hydroboration oxidation, we simply add OH at the end here. Breaking the double bond, we will add OH here. But in acid catalyzed hydration, we will find for a more stable alcohol. Now this is a primary alcohol, you agree, right? CH2OH, this is the formula, it is a primary alcohol. But here when I see, okay, here we have the chances of making a better stable alcohol. Always the stability of alcohols is tertiary is very much greater or very much stable than the secondary, which is again more stable than the primary, right? Most stable is tertiary. So here I can make a tertiary alcohol in acid catalyzed hydration. Now coming to hydroboration oxidation, carbocations are not intermediates, right? In hydroboration oxidation process, as you can see, we don't have any carbocation formation. While in ACH, we have a carbocation formation, right? Now this carbocation formation led to what? The rearrangement, right? OH is rearranged to a secondary carbon atom, right? Which is much stabler than primary one. So, if there is no such carbocation formation, there is no rearrangement, and hence we can add OH directly to one of the NCA atoms. Now, third is by hydrolysis of esters. So, what are esters? They are R C double bond O O R, right? Or R dash, you can say. Plus H2O, we will get in presence of acid. Okay, this is called acidification. H plus acidification will give us RC double bond OOH plus R dash OH. So here we are getting RCOOH, that is carboxylic acid, plus one alcohol. Again, if we react it with a base, now this was what? H plus means what? Acidification. Acid catalyzed hydrolysis, right? Now, in the next step we have base catalyzed hydrolysis, taking NaOH, right? So there what will happen? We have R double bond O, OR dash plus NaOH, which is a base, which will give me R C double bond O, ONA plus R dash OH, which will give me alcohol and sodium salt of that carboxylic acid. Okay, now coming to hydrolysis of ethers. This was what? Hydrolysis of esters. Now the fourth preparation method is hydrolysis of ethers. ROR or acidification will give me two alcohols, that is ROH plus R-OH. Now using Grignard's reagent, that is RMGX plus formaldehyde, that is HCHO. Okay, CHO group is aldehyde and HCHO is called formaldehyde, will give me primary alcohols. RMGX plus RCHO, which is aldehyde, a simple aldehyde except formaldehyde. Okay, if it is formaldehyde, it will give me primary. If it is not formaldehyde but some other aldehyde, it will give me secondary alcohol. And this Grignard reagent on reaction with ketones will give me tertiary alcohols. Okay, now if I react this RMGX with HC double bond OH, which is again formaldehyde itself, right? So here what will happen? I will get C, right? CH2ROMGX. Again, this one reaction with water will give me CH2ROH, okay, plus MgOHX. So this was the mechanism for the formation of primary alcohols using Grignard's reagent reacting with formaldehyde. Okay, now coming to the next thing. Now we have the mechanisms for when the Grignard's reagent reacts with some other aldehyde. At that time we have what? We have R group, CH and OMGX group. Again on reaction with water we will have these R2, CHOH, okay, plus MgOHX. Then again for RCOR, okay, which is ketone, RC double bond OR, which is ketone on reaction with this Grignard's reagent, we will get R2CHOMGX, and again on the reaction with H2O, we will get R3OH, right? Plus MgOHX. Now coming to the reduction of carbonyl compounds. So here also we should have R, right? 3 R groups are needed, so this should also become R. In this case it's H, but in this case it is R. Here also should be R. Now the reduction of carbonyl compounds, carboxylic acids and its derivatives. Okay, so aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids and the acid derivatives, all these on reduction gives us alcohols. Now how do we do this reduction? Using these reducing agents, which are Zn plus HCl, LiAlH4, NaBH4, Na in the presence of C2H5OH, which is used in Baumelt-Blaine reaction, and BH3 in THF as we saw, also H2 in nickel, platinum or palladium. And in MVP reduction, aluminium isopropoxide is used, and we can also use Sn plus HCl as one more of the reducing agents. Now on reducing aldehyde, now what does this reduction mean first of all? Reduction either means removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen, right? So here we want it in terms of hydrogen, that is addition of hydrogen. So if I reduce aldehyde using 2 moles of hydrogen, right, 2 moles of hydrogen atoms, I will get primary alcohols. If I reduce ketones, then I will get secondary alcohols, and if I reduce carboxylic acid, I will get again primary alcohol with H2O. Okay, so this you should remember, that is again if I reduce carboxylic acid, right, on direct reduction it will give me RCH2OH. NaBH4 can reduce only aldehydes and ketones. See, this is a very important point, that NaBH4 can reduce only aldehydes and ketones. Okay, but not carboxylic acids. It cannot reduce carboxylic acids. Okay. Both NaBH4 and LiAlH4 do not reduce olefinic linkage. That is, they do not reduce carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, they will only reduce if there is aldehyde or ketonic group, but they won't reduce. They do not reduce CH2 double bond or any carbon-carbon double bond. But cationic hydrogenation reduces double bonds as well as the carbonyl compounds. Now, what are these carbonyl compounds? Those are ketones and aldehydes only, right? Which means catalytic hydrogenation, wherein the reagents are H2 in presence of nickel, platinum, or palladium. This reagent together can reduce double bonds as well as aldehydes or ketones. Now coming to seventh process, that is oxo process. Okay, here CH2 double bond CH2 plus carbon monoxide CO plus H2 in the presence of COHCO4. Now you should focus here, that is the CO present outside is cobalt. Okay, and HCO present inside the bracket is carbon monoxide CO. Okay, 4 times. Now what is this actually? This is cobalt tetracarbonyl hydride. This compound is known as cobalt tetracarbonyl hydride. The reagent in oxo process is cobalt tetracarbonyl hydride. Now reaction of ethene, double bond, right? So ethene, unsaturated compound. Ethene plus carbon monoxide plus hydrogen in presence of cobalt tetracarbonyl hydride gives rise to CH3, CH2, CHO. Again, which on reaction with zinc plus copper in presence of hydrogen, that is H2, gives rise to alcohol, that is propanol here, right? Now coming to fermentation. We can also prepare alcohols using the process of fermentation. Now, the process of breaking of complex organic molecules into simpler ones by the means of biocatalyst is called fermentation. The preparation of ethyl alcohol or spirit of wine. Ethyl alcohol is also known as spirit of wine or grain alcohol. Now let's see the preparation of this grain alcohol or spirit of wine or ethyl alcohol using fermentation. So there are two processes. First one is from molasses. Now what is this molasses? This molasses contains 20 to 40% of sucrose. Molasses is the leftover material after extracting sugar from sugarcane. Okay, so this contains 20 to 40% of sucrose. It is diluted with water and then acidified up to the pH of 4 to 5, right? So 4 to 5 is acidic pH, right? Then yeast is added and the mixture is taken and retained in a large wooden tank for 2 to 3 days at 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. Then, for the yeast, what is the food for the yeast then? Ammonium phosphate and ammonium sulfate are added for the food of the yeast. Yeast produces two enzymes, invertase and zymase. Now, this sucrose, that is C12H22O11, let us zoom in. Yeah, so C12H22O11 plus water in the presence of invertase will give us C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. So these are both are not the same compounds. One is glucose and one is fructose. That's why we have written it separately. Right? Now this glucose or fructose in the presence of zymase will give us 2 moles of C2H5OH plus 2 moles of CO2. Now this C2H5OH or alcohol formed is just 6 to 10% of that alcohol, which is known as wash or wort. Alright? Yeah. So this wash or wort, which is just 6 to 10% of the alcohol on fractional distillation, forms 95.6% of the alcohol known as rectified spirit. Now this 95.6% alcohol, that is C2H5OH plus the 4.4% H2O, forms an azeotropic mixture. Okay, so azeotropic mixtures, as we learned in solutions, we will see in the chapter solutions what are azeotropic mixtures. Okay, so for now you can understand that azeotropic mixtures are the mixtures which boil on the same boiling point for both the mixture, for both the solute and solvent added in a solution. Okay, so as we know, alcohol has a different boiling point, right? But and water has a different boiling point, right? So this azeotropic mixture that they form, 95.6% C2H5OH and 4.4% H2O, this together solution boils at a constant temperature. So azeotropic mixture is also known as constant boiling mixture. So this azeotropic mixture on azeotropic distillation. So this mixture, or you can write this mixture on azeotropic distillation forms 100% alcohol known as the absolute alcohol. Now the second process is from starch. Okay, so what is starch now? Starch is denoted by C6H10O5N. Okay, to the base N. So 2 moles of this C6H10O5N plus NH2O in the presence of a catalyst or enzyme known as diastage will give us maltose, which is N times of C12H22O11. Again, the formula for sucrose and maltose is same, but here maltose is formed. Okay, starch in presence of diastage and water will give us maltose. Now this maltose again on reaction with water in presence of maltase. Here it is tase. You should remember enzyme is tase, maltase, but the substance formed is maltose. Okay, now this maltose on reaction with water in presence of maltase will give us glucose, that is 2 moles of C6H12O6. Again this glucose on reaction with zymase will give us ethyl alcohol plus CO2. Okay, in presence CO2 as gas. Okay, this upper arrow gives us that it is a gas. Okay, now coming to the preparation of methyl alcohol or wood alcohol or spirit. So this methyl alcohol can be prepared by reaction of carbon monoxide with 2H2 giving CH3OH. It can also be prepared by CH4 plus half O2 giving CH3OH. Methanol is unfit for drinking in in the body. Okay, in the body first it is oxidized to methanol, then into methanoic acid. Now if a person drinks methanol, what will happen? So in the body that methanol is oxidized to methanol. Null is what? Methanol is what? Aldehyde group, right? Methanol is alcohol, alcohol to aldehyde, it gets oxidized. Then from this methanol to methanoic acid, carboxylic acid, it gets oxidized again, which may cause blindness and further death. Addition of CuSO4 to this ethyl alcohol gives color, and pyridine gives foul smell. If we add pyridine to this ethyl alcohol, it will give us foul smell, foul smelling liquid. Okay, so this ethanol then becomes unfit for drinking because of this denaturation. Denaturation causes the foul smelling liquid to form. Okay, now coming to the physical properties of alcohols. Alcohols up to C11 are colorless. Higher than sea level are wax-like solids. And the boiling point of these alcohols is directly proportional to the molar mass. That is, here you can see we have carbon. Let's calculate the molar mass for it. Carbon 12 plus H3 means 12 plus 3. That is 15. Plus O is what? 16. Right? 15 plus 16 plus 1 another. 1. H is 1 again. Right? So that is 32. 15 plus 16 plus 1 is 32. Right? So this is having molar mass 32. Methanol is having molar mass 32. Calculating for ethanol. We have what? C12, which is 12 into 2, 24, plus we have H5, right, that is 29, 24 plus 25, that is 24 plus 5, that is 29, plus O again, that is 16, right, so which gives us 45, plus H again, which is 46. So of course the molar mass of this is greater than that of methanol, and hence it has more boiling point than that of methanol. In isomeric alcohols, the boiling point is inversely proportional to branching. For example, N-pentyl has greater boiling point than isopentyl, which has greater boiling point than neopentyl alcohol. Okay, so now coming to in isomeric alcohols again, solubility is also inversely proportional to the surface area. Now, coming to high boiling point than aldehyde. They have high boiling points than aldehydes, ketones, ethers, and hydrocarbons of the comparable masses. Now, if we have a ketone or an ether which has the same molecular mass of one alcohol, the alcohol will have the greater boiling point, okay, due to its greater intermolecular hydrogen bonding, right, which makes it difficult to easily break the bonding, and hence more temperature is needed, which means boiling point is more. Soluble in water due to the hydrogen bonding between alcohol and water. Okay. Now, solubility is inversely proportional to size of non-polar hydrophobic alkyl group. Now, this alcohol forms an addition compound with CaCl2, that is calcium chloride. So, calcium chloride cannot be used for drying of C2H5OH. Now, what is 95% alcohol? Ethyl alcohol or ethanol plus 5% of methanol, it is known as denatured spirit. But if I add 20% of ethanol to 80% of gasoline, this becomes a solution called power alcohol. 90% ethanol plus 9% of CH3OH gives methylated spirit. Now the other 1% is what here? Other 1% is some poisonous substance like pyridine, acetone or petroleum oil. Now acidic nature of alcohols. Alcohols are acidic in nature due to the polar nature of OH bonds. Right? Now minus I groups, which are electron withdrawing group, increases the stability of the alkoxide and makes alcohols more acidic. Okay, more the number of minus I group, the alcohol becomes more acidic. Yeah, so now if plus I groups are there, it will be less acidic, which means plus I groups destabilize the alkoxide ion. Now what is this alkoxide ion? It is RO minus. Okay, so ROH can be written as RO minus plus H plus. This RO minus is what? Alkoxide group. Okay, so plus I groups destabilize the alkoxide group and hence make it less acidic. Minus I groups, with our electron withdrawing groups, they make the alkoxide group more acidic and hence more stable. Right? Now coming to chemical properties of alcohols. Reaction involving the cleavage of OH bond. First type is reaction involving breakage of OH bond. So here first is reaction with metals. C2H5OH plus Na gives C2H5ONa. So the bond between O and H is broken, right? Plus half H2O. Here is one more example, that this tertiary alcohol on reaction with aluminium gives us for 3 moles, because valency of aluminium is 3, right? So we will get 3 times of the tertiary alcohol plus 3 times of tertiary alcohol into aluminium plus 3 by 2 times of H2. These reactions indicate that alcohols are acidic in nature. Why? Because they are reacting with bases and they release hydrogen. Right? Na, that is metals, are usually basic in nature. So these react with basic in nature metals and give hydrogen. So they are considered to be acidic in nature. Coming to acidification, carboxylic acid plus R-OH in presence of H2SO4 gives us ester plus H2O. Again, acid chloride, that is RC double bond OCl plus R-OH on reaction with alcohol in presence of pyridine will give me RC double bond OR, that is ketone plus HCl. Further, when I react acid and hydride, that is, as you can see the structure here, RC double bond O, again that O attached with C double bond O R plus alcohol will give me RCOOR, that is again an ester plus RCOOH, carboxylic acid. Order of reactivity of alcohols towards this process of esterification is primary greater than secondary greater than tertiary. Now Grignard's reagent RMgX plus ROH gives RH, that is alkyl that is hydrocarbon. RH is hydrocarbon plus MgORX. Next, coming to reaction involving the cleavage of COH bond. Okay, that is OH is getting separated from carbon. Reaction with halogen acids, that is HX. So ROH plus HX gives us RX, that is alkyl halide, in presence of ZnCl2 and also gives us water. So this is the order of reactivity of halogen acids. Okay, so Hi greater than HBr greater than HCl greater than HF. And further we also have for alcohols benzylic greater than allylic greater than tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Alcohols react with red phosphorus and Hi forms hydrocarbon. C2H5OH, as we can see, plus 2Hi in presence of red phosphorus gives us ethane plus I2 plus H2O. Ethane is a hydrocarbon, right? Now reaction with PCl3, PCl5 and SOCl2. Now 3 moles of C2H5OH plus PCl3 will give me alkyl halide, right, which is haloalkane. 3 moles of C2H5Cl plus H3PO3. Again, this C2H5OH on reaction with PCl5 will give me C2H5Cl plus HCl plus POCl3. This on reaction with SO2 in presence of pyridine will give me C2H5Cl plus HCl plus SO2, whereas HCl and SO2 are both gases. Reaction with ammonia, that is NH3. Reaction with ammonia in presence of Al2O3 at 360 degree Celsius. Okay, so it will give me RNH2 plus H2O. Again, this RNH2 reaction with alcohols will give me RNHR. You can see each hydrogen is getting replaced by R group, right? That is alkyl group plus H2O. Now R2NH plus ROH will give me R3N plus H2O. Dehydration, dehydrating agents, these are some dehydrating agents which are concentrated H2SO4, P3O5, KHSO4, H3PO3, Al2O3 at 360 degrees Celsius as we saw just now, BF3 in presence of heat, POCl3 in presence of pyridine, HCl, boric acid at 443 Kelvin. Now alcohols react with H2SO4 at different temperatures to form different products. Now what are those products? Now CH3CH2OH on reaction with H2SO4 in 383 Kelvin temperature will give us CH3CH2 HSO4 plus H2O. These reactions are also important, that is ethyl hydrogen sulfate. Now 2CH3CH2OH in presence of H2SO4 at 413 Kelvin will give us CH3CH2O CH2CH3 plus H2O, that is diethyl ether. Now again this alcohol on reaction with H2SO4 at 443 Kelvin will give us an alkene, that is CH2 double bond CH2 plus H2O. Now that is very very important. What is this? That is the mechanism for dehydration of ethanol to ethene, the third one. Right? So this mechanism is also very very important. That is first formation of protonated alcohol. Right? That is CH3CH2OH adding H plus. Okay, what we will get here? We will get CH3CH2OH2 plus. Now formation of carbocation. Okay, so here this CH3CH2OH2 plus will be formed as CH3CH2 plus. This will form a carbocation, right? This is ethyl carbocation, 2 carbon atoms plus H2O. Further, the step 3 is what? Removal of proton to get alkene. What is that? Removal of proton, removal of this hydrogen and forming a double bond over here to get alkene. That is CH2 double bond CH2 plus H plus. So in the starting we added H plus, now we will remove H plus. Right? Now coming to catalytic dehydrogenation reaction. This is also very important. Here the reagent is copper at 573 Kelvin, which is also equal to 300 degrees Celsius. Right? We should also know in Celsius temperatures what are the temperatures are given. RCH2OH, that is primary alcohol, in presence of copper at 573 Kelvin will give us aldehyde plus H2. Secondary alcohol will give us ketones and H2. Right? Ketones are RC double bond O, R plus H2. Whereas tertiary alcohols on reaction at copper at 573 Kelvin will give us CH3, CCH3 double bond CH2, that is alkene plus H2O. So tertiary alcohol will give alkene, secondary will give ketone, primary will give aldehyde. Okay, so we have in many places we have seen the same thing, right? Primary will give aldehyde, secondary will give ketone, and tertiary alcohol will give us alkenes. We just need to remember the reagents and where and all this type of reactions are taking place. Coming to the sixth one, that is oxidation. And we also have our oxidizing agents, right? So we have agents as acidified K2Cr2O7, acidified or alkaline KMnO4, PCC, PDC, aluminium tertiary butoxide, MnO2. So these all are our oxidizing agents. Out of these, the strongest ones are acidified K2Cr2O7, acidified KMnO4 or alkaline KMnO4. So here I am just writing O for oxidation. So RCH2OH, primary alcohol on oxidation, gives aldehyde again, which this aldehyde on further oxidation will give us carboxylic acid with same number of carbon atoms. Okay, so here you need to keep in mind this also with same number of carbon atoms. While here a secondary alcohol on oxidation will give us ketone. Okay, this ketone or further oxidation will give us mixture of carboxylic acids with less number of carbon atoms. Okay, with less number of carbon atoms. And this is the third one. That is that now let's see first example for secondary alcohol, right? Which is CH3, CHOH, CH3 plus KMnO4 in presence of H plus will give us CH3, C double bond OCH3, which is a ketone, and again on oxidation it will give us carboxylic acid plus HCOOH, right? So this is formic acid, again which on oxidation we will finally get H2O plus CO2. Now what about tertiary alcohols? They are difficult to oxidize and undergo oxidation in only drastic conditions to give alkene again, alkenes, right? Alkenes then oxidize to ketones, and these ketones again oxidize to carboxylic acid with less number of carbon atoms, right? So here is an example as you can see. Again on oxidation in presence of HNO3 it will give us CH3, CCH3 double bond CH2. Again on oxidation it will give CH3, C double bond OCH3, which is a ketone. Again on oxidation it will give us carboxylic acid plus H2O plus CO2, as this is almost the same steps which are in secondary alcohols as well, right? Now coming to the seventh one, which is the second last chemical property of alcohols, which is reaction with halogens. Now, reaction with halogens of alcohol, CH3CH2OH is an alcohol on reaction with Cl2, that is chlorine molecule, and oxidation is also taking place, right? It will give us CH3CHO, which is aldehyde, and again on reaction with 3Cl2, we will get CCl3CHO, which is trichloroacetaldehyde or chloral, right? It is also known as chloral or chloral. So one more reaction we can see is CH3CHOH-CH3, which is secondary alcohol on reaction with chlorine and on oxidation will give us CH3C double bond OCH3, which is a ketone, right? Primary giving rise to aldehyde, secondary again giving rise to ketone. Again in the presence of 3Cl2 it will give us CaCl3 C double bond OCH3, which is trichloroacetone. Now finally the last chemical property, that is haloform reaction. Now what is a haloform reaction? CH3CH2OH, this alcohol, plus 4 times of X2. Okay, 4 molecules of that halide molecule, 4 molecules of halogen will give in presence of 6 NaOH. Okay, 4X2 plus 6 NaOH will give us CHX3 plus 5NaX plus HCOONA plus 5H2O. This is what? Haloform reaction. This gives us a haloform. If this halogen is chlorine, it will give me chloroform. If it is bromine, it will give me bromoform. If it's iodine, iodoform, right? But here it is very very important to note that methanol. Here I have taken ethanol, right? CH3CH2OH. So methanol, which is having only one carbon atom, CH3OH, will not respond to this haloform test, right? Because it doesn't have enough number of carbons, right? Here one carbon is needed and here one carbon is needed. It doesn't have enough number of carbons to perform the haloform test.